All right. Good day, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well today. We'll get started here in just a second. So let's get everything ready. And boom. Let me unmute. Everyone on live. Okay. Not that. Not that. And I will put this in chat. Should probably have it in the description as well. Maybe I will. And there we go. Hello, Nico. How are you? I think I saw on Discord you were having a hard time with NumPy. I guess with NumPy or just installing NumPy? I can't remember. I saw you and Benke. Saw what you did, or I glanced at it. I didn't see. See type you're making. I see pixels, so. And then what will this do? So, all right. Sorry, I'm over on Discord. Let's see. Tried to install NumPy and it failed because dependency failed. Really? So, are you just using pip? So, if you're just joining us, Nico is trying to install NumPy, and I'm just kind of trying to get a baseline. But we've had some individuals drop in, so I hope everyone is doing well today. So, we're going to be looking at, I think, move zeros. So, let's grab everything. We have some constraints. There's a couple of constraints, so I have a feeling that's going to be the heavy lift, because when I kind of glanced at this, I was like, I don't think this will be too, because I had actually a couple of ideas. I had to stop myself from looking at it last night, because I do this for a variety of reasons. One, to stay on my toes, but two, for everyone here to see me go through a problem live and see the raw work, kind of give you a real life. Yes, pip. So just pip install NumPy, and it still was failing. So I think I went through that as well. So did you manually install pip, or did you check the box when you installed? Because there's problems with path. I have a video on path and pip, because if it doesn't have the right path, it's not gonna let me make sure I'm using terms that make sense. I'm trying to make a packet system for the render system so I can load entire genus at once, because Python can only load one thing at a time. Okay. I checked the box. Got it. So I guess I'm kind of at a loss. The only thing that I can think of for dependencies is that now you can also uninstall NumPy and start over, because I mean, basically, let me just kind of show you. Let me make sure I don't have anything to. All right. So, I mean, just to give you an idea. So this is the file path of where I would want it to go and the version that I'd want. Type in, and then what is it, pip list. So then I'll be able to see everything So what kind of error are you getting? So yeah, I guess I'm trying. Once I know I had some. I mean, pip install numpy. I mean anything, and it just. What kind of error were you getting that dependencies? Because the last time, okay, I searched it up and every answer was install Anaconda. And that's why I installed it in the first place. But you told me to uninstall Anaconda. Well, you don't. So you're doing this in, yes, okay, so now we're getting into it because now that you have Anaconda is very particular. And so do you have this? Because this is you have to be very careful of how you install things here because this is very, very particular. So when you're installing packages, and let's just get this out. Let's pull this up. I don't have Anaconda anymore. All right. So until you get very comfortable, not a bad idea. Maybe it was used in a virtual environment. Yes, so very true. I stay away from talking about virtual environments because you can go down a rabbit hole and you end up causing problems that you didn't need while trying to avoid causing problems, if that makes sense. You're trying to simplify it. So when you're getting very hang on, I can't type as MP. Whoa, everything is really slow today. So when you're really just getting started, especially in Python and experimenting with bringing in packages, you don't need anything more specific than the shell. Let me make sure you can see. You don't need anything more than Haratish, thank you for joining us today. So I don't think I've seen you before, so very nice to have you here, and thank you. You can do everything. You don't need anything more than this, just the shell. And if you have what now, when you're Nico, if you're starting to get into multiple versions of Python, that's where this can really spiral out of control. So you think you have something somewhere and you don't have it where it is, and you're pointing in all sorts of directions. And if you try to move anything, so you have to, I would suggest kind of resetting or going back a step is get a new version of Python that is up to date. Reinstall it, get its own little folder. Then and then you can even go and list all of the packages that you want and just have them go through and get everything. So I would try to, because again, you've said that if I saw that right in Discord, you've spent hours. You've spent the last hour trying to install Python. And I mean, that's not, yes, those are the things that you're going to run into, but I try not to have, I try to help new individuals who are learning Python to stay away from that, because I mean, you're going to get frustrated and you're not even getting to do anything. Yes, you're learning and problem solving, but that is a really hard thing to stay super motivated about wanting to program when you can't even get a library installed. So I completely understand that. So all right, Linux is just Python on Windows. It's so you're on a Linux system. One day a lib uninstalled magically. One day a library installed. Wait a minute. So Nico, are you on a Linux machine right now? So now I can't speak to Linux at all. No, you're on Windows. Okay, all right, good. So I would get, because if you're having a dependency issue, the only thing that I can think of is that but it should have installed it if it didn't have it. Every time I know I've had issues with installs, and I'm trying to remember what they were or how I went about it. Now, it may have a, I'm trying to think. All right, let me not just keep that internal. So it may have an older version, but the last time I had one, it even updated the older version. So, all right, I'll keep thinking about that, Nico. But I would just kind of reinstall your, because something is out of sorts and not communicating with each other. So either something is moved, or worse, something thinks it's moved and it's not there. So it's not communicating. So any fix that you do, you can send the error over. I'm sure it's what exactly you said. It's just a dependency error, but I'll be more than happy to look at it if you send it over in Discord. All right, so it's back to topic at hand. Leetcode 283 moves zeros. So given an integer array nums, move all zeros to the end of it while maintaining the relative order of the non-zero elements. Note that you must do this in place without making a copy of the array. So if you look, they even have this little note in the template. So, all right, do not return anything modified nums in place instead. So if here is a list, so right now what it's saying is you're not going to be able to do sort. So I kind of have a variety of topics, or a variety of, what do I want to say? Techniques. Venki, good morning. I had enough and I'm terminating everything Python version off the machine, then installing Python. I think that's a great start, because I think I ran into that where I tried to download and I just got Vara, how are you? I'm late. Late. No, we've been doing this for not very late. Let's see. Let me check. 14 minutes. We haven't really gotten started. It was okay. It was more of a, it wasn't a complete non-starter, not a complete waste of time, but I at least now am, so I'm answering Vara's question about the interview. So, met the recruiter. They're under a lot of pressure to fill a position, a data analyst position, for a large company in the U.S. And the only problem is, so Dataiku, they were really interested in Dataiku, so I jumped out with my experience in Dataiku, but the problem was no Power BI. And apparently it was going to be leading a small team, so it was a lead analyst. And I didn't want to say, so especially because this company, that the recruiter that I was speaking with, was a larger company, and they place people all around. And then they actually also have a segment that works in-house and does things, data engineers, data scientists, and working with Python, and even our developer for Dataiku. So who knows what will come from this. But it was a pass on this one, but at least for me to be able to have a conversation with a recruiter, because I have not really even had that yet. So it was a good talk, but this didn't go anywhere. But it was at least an opportunity to get to meet someone, and then I have a meeting next week, and then a meeting after that. Don't know if those are going to go anywhere. They're kind of weird. It's about being on another live stream, and then The one in 2 weeks is somebody asked for me to be on an advisory board. So who knows? So, all right. Thank you for asking, everyone. It was an interesting day yesterday. So, all right. So we need to move the zero. So we're going to be given a list of numbers. So an array of integers. So we also want to speak accurately because terminology, I hate to say this out loud, but terminology matters because for consistency. Well, I will tell you this, Vara, about I'm not worried it was a pass because this, when you get older, you'll realize you don't want to be in a place that isn't a really good fit because it would become awful. So as I was getting off the phone, I was already thinking about this. So what happens if I would have said I was really good at Power BI? Oh, and it was going to be a contract. It was going to be for like 6 months. So I thought it was going to be 12 to 18 months. So that wasn't going to be bad. But then if, let's say, they gave me the job and I stretched and said that I could do Power BI and I really couldn't because they didn't want to do any training. They wanted to just drop somebody in and have them go. And then it didn't go well. And then the company was like, hey, this guy's awful. We want him gone. And then the company, the recruiting company, the placement company would be like, hey, you said that you were good at Power BI. So, and also my experience is don't be upset when you don't get because there's probably something better. So that's just what I have in my head. But thank you everyone for asking and the support, because that's pretty awesome that we get to come here and I get to talk about it and keep everyone up to date. But everybody do me a favor, if you've not hit the like button, go ahead and do that. So Venki, your solution yesterday was so cool. I can't even wrap my human brain around it to really articulate how this is working. I'm going to spend some more time on it because I see that this is working here and it's doing a great job. I even checked for four characters and it works great. But that's actually a topic that I'm trying to formulate, is about seeing it so vague about a human designing for an algorithm for decision making that we make. Because if we can't do it, we're definitely not going to be able to write a piece of code. Oh, I know this stray thought that came. This makes sense after you see it, but you have to be able to devise it. So I liked telling this story for a long time for my replacement, my first replacement. I didn't get to meet my last replacement because I was already gone. But this makes sense after you see it, but you have to derive it. So we took the last little bit of logic that I wrote for Walmart before I moved over to the application side. Was we had to figure out a way to do something, and it took me about 7 weeks to come up with a way that it worked constantly and it worked in every case. So I say this, it took 7 minutes to write it, and because it was 7 lines, so 7 minutes to write 7 lines, and it took me 7 weeks to find the best suitable algorithm to solve it. So yes, this looks super simple, and don't let this detract from how complicated things are. So basically, also don't underestimate the amount of work that your brain is doing, how subtle and how many gaps that it is filling in for us. So yeah, you're like, oh wow, that's super simple. Like I've shown you about finding the prime number. You can write that in 4 lines of code. Well, if you can compress the code and make it elegant and very small. So, all right, I don't want to slow everybody down. It's Saturday. Everybody probably has stuff to do. So let's go ahead and get through this. So what jumps out to me is I'm going to be iterating through here. And when I find a 0, I'm going to move it to the end of the list. So there's a couple of different ways we can do this. Now, look at this constraint. So what jumped out at me is, hey, there's a couple of lines. It handles the 0 index. Yes, I saw that. Bingo. That was super good. Because I know this works, and you talked about commenting that out, and I tested this. This is very elegant, and it's air handling. It handles, but I still can't quite wrap my head around this. But Vinky, I love this solution. It was fantastic. All right. So what I want to do first is I just want to iterate, and when I find a 0, I move it out. All right. And let's see, constraint 1, nums length, and nums. Okay, what? It's going to be negative. Okay. Let's make sure. We're not putting them in order. We are moved all to the end. So the end is to the right, all the way to the right. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. Let's do this first one. Copy. And the second one. Copy. And please, if you have a question, and now for those of you who've been around, God, we're coming up on 2 months and have been around a while. And so I want everyone to start thinking about new people who are joining us. And if I say something that is too complicated, I need you to say, hey, say that again. Make sure everybody knows what, because I try to always think as if there's everybody in the room is new. But I also have to do the balance of not thinking everybody in the room is new. So it's a very delicate balance. So if I'm flying through and I say something, I need those of you who've been around a couple months to just say, hey, explain that better. All right, so I'm going to iterate or go through. So we're going to comment this out. So that I is a temporary variable, which took me forever. I thought it was always I. It's like, why is it always I? It's just a temporary variable. I can show you. I can do it with an underscore. I can do it for in. All right. All of these are important. For your temporary variable, in. Oh my goodness. Don't look at that. Look at what I just wrote. All right. For I in nums. Nums is this container. And this is what's called the header. That's the header. Everything indented under the header is the body. So, all right. I want to just print out I. I could do all sorts of operations or instructions. Operations, instructions, all the same thing. All right. So now, what I want to do is okay, this is not going to work. Because if I move anything in the list, all right, so now here's, are you going to make a live stream about C types? I don't know, Nico. I don't know. Is that because you started to make some C types? So I looked in. I guess I can't. I'll look at it and I'll really try to see if there's a benefit to it. I don't know how many people that would help. So maybe I can ask specific questions for you, but I'm trying to think as a wide of an audience as possible. So I don't know, because that's pretty specific. I'm already pretty specific with Python, and but I'd be more than happy to help you with specific questions about that on Discord. I'd be more than happy to help you with that. But I don't know much about C types. I'd have to do a lot of research. And I don't know. Try my C types pixel thingy. By the way, C types are built-in module. Yes. So if you saw and you joined and you're talking about NumPy, you have libraries that are already built into Python, quote unquote, batteries included, and then there's others. What really sets Python apart is individuals write libraries, and you can go and download them and add them to your machine and do all sorts of solve all sorts of problems. NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, PyPlot, all of these things. So we're iterating through here. So now I've already kind of changed my mind, because I've got the only reason why I'm kind of stopping in my tracks, because I've already done this before. So if I am going to try to move something in the list, I'm going to run into a problem. Because you can't augment, from what I remember, you can't augment a list while you're iterating through the list, because it becomes an issue. So let's just see what we can do. If I equal to 0, because I think this is going to throw up. So I want to move it, and the way that I remove it, so we need to look at, let's do pass here. So nums is a list, so I do dir on nums. So if you're super new, nums and help, dir and help are going to be your friend. I still utilize them a lot, and then we're going to talk about type later. So all right, these are all your magic methods, and these are the things you can do to a list. So remove and pop. Let's kind of take a peek at this. So I reminded myself of all the methods available. Now, you do not have to memorize things. You want to understand, what do I want to do? What is available? So then now I'm going to do help on nums dot, and since these are methods, it's dot notation. So I'm going to investigate by using my help function, and then I'm going to call remove. So I'm going to be looking at the documentation. Ij equals ji. Ooh, I'm intrigued, Venki. So, all right. Returns the first occurrence of, remove the first occurrence of the value. So we may, all right, so we're going to tweak this a little bit. One, I want to see if this is going to fail, which I think if you try to augment a list while you're iterating through it, I think it fails. So I have two ways that I want to do this. I want to talk through this, and then I want to talk about using a while loop that I think is going to be the better solution. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know dir, but I just memorized all the dictionary list and tuple modifiers. Don't memorize. No, okay, stop. Stop. Do not memorize anything. You want to focus on the soul of it. So when you're solving a puzzle, are you drawing from any memory? No, I'm devising, hey, if I slide this over here, or if think about directions. Think about you're going on a route someplace between point A and point B as a human, and you're driving through. Uh-oh, there's an accident here. What do I do? So you're not going to memorize the solution. You're going to take in all the information around you, and you're going to make the best decision. So do not memorize anything in Python. It detracts from everything that you're trying to do to solve. So if anybody tells you to, you may have an instructor, which I hope they don't, but you have these tools. Use the tools you have to solve your problem. I don't remember any of these. I know how to get to them. I know I can remember and read how to use them. So the essence, you want to remember the essence. And I think I stopped reading. Modifiers like append, pop, which I am writing this. You not said to memorize. Okay, that's fine. Yes, do not memorize. And that's fine. That's fine. You're on a journey. Because when you memorize something, you lose. Now, there's certain things you need to memorize. All right, I need to memorize that. I need here's my order of syntax. Okay, this is about as much memorization as you're going to do, but you're going to do this so much. It's just going to be like forming a sentence. It's going to be a new, Python programming language. It's a new language, so new syntax, new terms, but how to go through something, iterate. So, all right. I think this will fail, but I just want to try it. So, remove if I equal to 0, nums dot remove 0, then nums dot append 0. Pretty sure this will fail, but we're gonna try it. No way that worked. But now I got another error that I gotta fix. I got NumPy installed. Okay, fantastic. No way, this can't be. Does this really work? Let's see. I didn't think you could augment a list while you, for some reason. It should be printing. All right, so now, Vara, I want you to look. Vara, have you? I know. So now that this is in my senior moment, I did not think you could iterate through. Now I want to ask you something, Vara. If I want, how many times will nums come out when I have it here? Actually, so how many times will num come out? This will be actually a great question. All right. Let's go back to here. This is perfect. No one else answer. This is a perfect order of operations problem. Vara, how many times will nums print if it's in this location with this list? This is pertinent with this list. So we're going to look. Yep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now how many times will nums print out in this location? Check how many elements. So this will be interesting. I don't know if this will be 5 times or 7 times. So watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So the difference between this is, I want you to look at this. Interesting. So right now there are 5 elements. You're fine. But now I want you to look and see. Why did this do this 4 times when it was over here? Because I want you to think about this. First time through, a 0. Then it's going to move it to the end. Next time through, 0. Move to the end. We're here. Let's do this. So check this out. 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're moving this twice. So it's going to then get to the end of the list and look at those 2 zeros 2 more times. Now how many times is nums going to print out when I do this? This is a very interesting exercise and very good for beginners to think about. So when I run this, and I'll hit run right now 1 time because I'm at the end of my loop. So I'm in my loop, but then when I am here, I'm indented inside of this condition. So technically this happens. 1, she gets shot to the end. 2, shot to the end. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when I had it outside this if, just right inside this 4, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 each time through. Boom, 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 boom. I was gonna say 1 or 0. That's great. You got to start somewhere. So all right. So now this seems to be working, and we didn't copy the list. We're not returning anything. So we're gonna copy this and see what. Oh, we need to put this in a function. All right, Vara, I need to put this into a function. What do I do? So I need to have another header. What'd they call it? Move zeros. We're just going to call it def moves. Then we're going to take nums. They call it nums. Yep, nums. And that's wrong. So Vara, the way that I used to like to remember to do this is it was the header of a function has 4 things with an optional 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 are absolutely mandatory. Bingo. And the arguments inside if needed. 100% correct. So all right. So now I'm going to move this over and see how we do with this. And we're going to do the first run on the test and see if it. And it does not like this. It says it does not allow us to remove. All right. Oh, hang on. Nope, I have an indentation problem because I had my 4 and my if. All right, let's try this again. Let's see, because I was like, how is that not? Okay, because I'm not shuffling it. I'm not sorting it. All right, let's see if anybody else's solutions. Whoa. That's not good. All right, Vinky, you're going to need to let me show you. This is how slow. So there are better, more elegant solutions. Look how slow mine is, and look how awful everybody else is. So we're down here at 824 milliseconds. We beat nobody. That's an awful circle. What? Okay. Look at this spike right here. Look at this spike. This is at, what, 52, 54 milliseconds? Vinky, have you started to look at this? Let's see. Oh, the if needed is called in the args. I forgot. Thank you. I didn't know I was getting a teaching lesson. No problem. Vinky, are you still here? Have you glanced at the I, comma, J, J, comma, I? Oh, you want me to show that? That is super cool. All right. Let's see. So you have A is 1, B is 2, and then you swap them. And now A is 2, B is 1. No worries. All right. So Vinky, here's we got it to work. But it's so slow. Here we are. We only beat 7%. Now, I don't know what these people were doing, but I mean, I'm sure that these lists are 1 million characters. We got it to work, but this is also here's the thing that it really took me, because I would see these lessons, I would see these challenges, and they'd talk about millions of rows or millions of items in a list, and I was like, why would this be so big? Until I started working with the scan data at the warehouses, and I was like, oh, because yeah, now I get it, because we're talking about millions of cases that we're going through. So we need to find. We can't iterate through the whole list. That's why this is costing so much. So if you hear cost, time, complexity, the amount of time that it takes. So yes, we're doing small little things here, but when you're talking about millions and billions of lines, you have to get through them in a timely fashion. You may have to buy more computers. So you can look at the whole concept of NVIDIA right now, that they are basically building chips that are going to replace whole data centers. But let's go to the contrary. Let's say your algorithm is just really slow and it's taken 3 times as much. So let's say right now your software says that to get this job done in a day, because we have to get this done and cycled, and we have to get this done in 2 hours, or our infrastructure will just have this huge problem. Okay, so we need 3 new servers. Okay, we're talking about a lot of money. Now, what happens if you can say, oh, wait a minute, I think I can redesign this and I can make this twice as fast. Wait a minute, what? So now you only need 2 servers instead of 3. So you've just saved tens, 20,000, thousands of dollars by finding a better algorithm to speed things up. That's where this can turn into real difference, real meaning, and real money. So having a good, clean algorithm is important. So, all right. So we got this to work. Now let's try to get this where this speeds up. Vinky, do you have any solution, any thoughts from a math side? So we could also do a while loop and let. So Vara, there's built-in functions inside Python that are faster than any code you can write. What was it called again? Work time complexity. Yes, time complexity. How long it takes to do. So here, let me pull this back up. So all right, this function, this algorithm I just wrote took 824 milliseconds. The time complexity would be So I'm going through this. Hang on. Sorry, Vara, let me take a minute. Vinky, I just figured out why mine is so slow. Because I'm moving the 0 and I'm touching the 0 twice. So, all right. so everyone, this is awful. This is an awful solution because I was looking at this 0 twice instead of going through and looking at all of the zeros and moving it over. So let's say I had a list of 1,000,000 integers and half of them were zeros. And then we'll go back to time complexity. All right, give me a new one. No. So this is why it's important to get it to work and then make it better. So what I'm doing is let's say half the list was zeros. So I'm literally iterating through not just the length of the list, I've just made the list 50% longer. So I want you to, I'll say that again really slow. And this is why I'm obsessed with making sure you understand the anatomy of the objects that you're working with. So I was taking it, moving it to the end, and then considering, can you index after you have removed the zeros and not check after you have indexed where the first 0 starts? So I think I know what you're asking, and that's actually going to be my next solution. So there is, let's go back to our nums. So here we are. So dir on nums. And you're talking about, can you index? So I don't know if this is what so you can actually check for, and these built in, so when you're inside Python is faster than a loop of you're writing Python. So these methods are faster. So me iterating through to look for 0 is going to be slower than asking Python to look for a 0. So nums dot index. So I can't quite remember what. Hang on. Oh, is that the solution? I don't want to look. Okay. Vinky, was that the solution that you just made over on Discord? Probably is. So what I'm now thinking, so I only iterate through, is I'm going to ask. Okay, sorry, because I was looking for if we may need to look at Vinky's solution because now I'm stuck. So if I were to continuously look for zeros, don't return anything, modify nums in place. Oh, I just had an idea, but I'm breaking the rules. So what I want to do, okay, so this is a little naughty. So I want to remove all of the zeros, put it in a new list, and then append the list to nums when I get done. Don't return anything, modify nums in place. All right, Vinky, let me go back to chat. I'm on OBS. Yeah, the solution. All right, what is it? What's the speed? What's the speed on Leetcode? I bet yours is like 20 something milliseconds. That's what I thought, but it said you can't make a copy of an array. Well, we're not going to make a copy. We're going to bend the rules a little bit. So let's try our ugly one here. So let's see. Oh, I don't like this. New. It's going to be blank. And then while. Let's see. It may stop us because we're going to make a new list, and it may stop us. But it said we can't make a new I'm breaking the. It's probably gonna, because we've seen them be able to write some code to test, which I'm very impressed with that it's gonna test to see inside the code. That's some very good unit testing, and that's hard to do. It's not easy. I mean you can do it because all you have to do is then look for you do regular expressions looking for certain characters. So it would be creating a new. So we're going to find out if they're really checking for everything. So I'll do this way. Vinky, did it run in Leetcode? While what do we want to while true, while true. This is so awful. While true. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do pop, and help. Have you seen pop, Vara? Nums.pop. Remove and return item at index. So we need to index. Nope, want to do it later on there. Yeah, I know pop. Okay. Dax, how are you? Trying to code with Jupyter. Do you like Jupyter? I do not like Jupyter. I'm of the group. I don't know why. I don't know if I just don't like the cells. I don't know what it is. There are, I think there's a lot of us that are weird and don't like Jupyter. I'm following along pretty well today. Yesterday was a bit more confused, but that's because I'm kind of midway. No, yesterday's was very challenging. I'm not going to lie. But Vinky has a knack for these. These I describe. They're different types of problems. They're ones that everybody says you need to know math. No, you don't need to know math, but math can make it a lot easier. This is a very heavy. Me too. Not a fan of Jupyter. Yeah. Sorry. But Dax, we are very glad you're here, and thank you for coding along. So did you click on the link? I have it in the description, and I have it at the top of chat, which I don't know. I think you got to scroll, but we don't have like tons of folks in chat today. But actually there's a lot of chat, but not a lot of us here. So links in the description. Link is also in chat. Oh, Dax. So, I don't think you know this. So, had a interesting call with a recruiter yesterday. List comprehension. That's not bad. See, I like Vinky as well. Vinky always defaults to list comprehension. I always default to loops, which list comprehension is better. Vara, we'll talk more about that. But Dax, the recruiter. They were recruiting for a contract position for a lead data analyst. And the problem was the only gap that I had was did not have Power BI. So little disappointed, but still very excited that I'm actually in communication with a recruiter now, because they get positions all the time, and I've looked into them. The gentleman was also saying that they work and develop things for Dataiku. So that's actually what got me in the room, was my Dataiku experience. So it was an interesting call yesterday. I don't think it was a complete non-starter, but it was cool. So I've at least gotten to meet some individuals and have a call next week, and then have a call, have an interesting advisory board meeting. So I don't know if you've ever been on any of those. I don't know how much of a non-starter that is. Ever since you switched to Leetcode videos, I never understood the code you write. Are you going to learn Power BI? Yes, I am going to start because I think, but see, Dax, that's a very good question. I don't know. I go back and forth on it because the last job that I had, I really wasn't doing, I would do analysis, but I wouldn't do data visualization. I would support our two analysts that we had on our team with the data pipelines. So what is probably, which I didn't even know until a few weeks ago, that I was really closer to a data engineer. And I don't know if you've done anything with it. It is crazy how, I mean, it's like a DOS prompt when you're turning on and off these things. It's so new. it's like pip, where you're doing all these instructions. You're literally typing out the instructions of setting up the jobs, turning on the nodes, finding out what server is closest to the data storage. It's crazy how it's not archaic, but it is so at the beginning of anything. All right, sorry. You can use NumPy and Leetcode. I know only bits of it. Hang on. I know list comprehension. I like it better because I like to be able to auto assign a list to a variable. Okay, I like that. That's pretty cool. Vinky, sorry, not following. You can use NumPy and Leetcode. Yeah, because you're referring to be able to import modules and libraries. Yes, because you're inside. So I actually didn't help design it, but I pointed one of the platforms that because I've written courses on 2 platforms, and what you do is you just point your server and your web host and load in a Python interpreter and make sure it has all of the libraries that are there. It's very interesting, and you don't, I call it, you don't think about it till you think about it. So all right, let's so Dax, I don't know if you saw this solution. So we wrote one, and it is so slow. Let me show you how slow it is. So we got it to work, but it took 824 milliseconds. And the problem is I thought it was crafty until I started to think about it, and it's really awful. So I was basically lengthening the list by the number of zeros in said list. So I was taking it and moving it to the end. So if the list was 50% zeros, I was increasing my iteration by 50%. So I was slowing it down. So right now, if you want to see the solution already, Vinky has already put the solution in Discord. So I'm going to try something to see if we can do this. So while true, try. See, I'm already making this awful. I can feel how bad of an idea this is. So to verbalize and get out of my head, what I'm doing is basically I'm going to be checking to see if there's more zeros. While there are more zeros, I'm going to be trying to speed this up. So time complexity. So Vara, we talked about that for a minute. So let's look at this, because I'm weak in this subject. Time complexity. Let's grab this. I'm not going to be able to speak to this 100%, but let's bring this over here. So there should be there's a straight line. It's just, I thought. So here it is, O of n. So the longer n is, the longer O is. So it's basically, I'm going to iterate through each one. So that is this straight line right here. So the longer the input, so that's pretty realistic. So the longer the input, the more the O to the N. Now where you really have, like, the problem that I just did is it was probably somewhere here. This one. Because as I was lengthening it, I was going through it. I probably X, or maybe, no, that's not good. X squared. So probably somewhere, I was somewhere between here and here. And that's not good. That's not good. But ideally, you want to be here or lower, because you want to be efficient where you're not dependent on the length of the object. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So all right. So I've got to now, where there's also a thing that says you can't make a copy, which we're technically not making a copy. I want to pop out all the all the zeros, and then put them in another list. So I'm not making a copy, and then append it back to the list. So let's see. So now that's human brain. So Vara, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be trying to be thinking about what techniques in Python. I want to grab it, take it out. So well, wait a second. I don't need to do that, because then I'll be going, let's go back through. Where's my ugliness? All right. New. And then new. Then when I get done, this is so bad. I can feel it. I don't know why that should be doing that. And then when I get done, nums equals, all right, extend new. All right, Vara, do you know extend? A few days ago, I got 451 milliseconds. The memory was okay, but it took more time as I had to do hash map twice. You had to go through it twice and compare it twice to checks if elements one array has in another one. So all right. So Vara, so when you have to go through something more than once, that is, you don't want to do that. But sometimes that's the only solution. And what the point of these exercises are, not only to get you to think about, so I call these there's two levels to this. One, can you solve it? And then you're going to compare so if you can solve it, you're comparing yourself to you. Can you solve this problem? One. Okay, now that you can solve it, now how do you compare with everyone else? So first, I just want you to spend the time solving it. Can you solve it? So now let's do this one. And I'm still not doing anything. So print, let's make sure this works. Was it move or moves? Moves. Then nums. and returns none. Okay. See, I hate these texts. I almost didn't return. Oh, and Dax, you would be, I think you'd be, so I just got a text from Indeed, and that looks like fake. I don't like this Leetcode series at all. You don't like this Leetcode series at all, Nico? I'm very sorry. Yeah, you don't like this problem or the whole concept of us doing Leetcode challenges? Nums. Okay, so I think, let's see if this works. And we'll find out, well, one thing is, all right, let's double check and make sure that, why is that doing that? It should jump from one print I. I don't like it when the answer is showed to you before you complete it yourself. Talking about what Venki did? I asked Venki to do that, but by watching your streams, you're showing us the answer before we complete it. Okay, I guess, and that's fair. I'm trying to show individuals. Basically, I just am trying to share that to see somebody walk through these and how see the anatomy of the process. That's what I'm trying to show. And trying to give encouragement, trying to have a safe place for everybody to be able to come. That's the only reason why I'm wanting to do this, Nico. And ooh, that is not what I was expecting. So you're gonna have this happen a lot when you're okay. And order of operations. I think it's helpful. I haven't practiced in like a week, and I can follow along, and it feels assuring. No, that and that's the whole point of what I want from all of this is I want everyone to come, because if you're studying and you're self-taught like myself, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. 100%. I love it, Venki. Absolutely. Well, Dax, I really appreciate that. That is, I hope I'm not distracting with me droning on. And now see, all right, now here's a perfect example. This is also not what I was expecting of this anatomy of this, because I am expecting this. So I have this item, this object, and I'm then iterating through it, and I'm calling and I'm printing out I, and I'm only getting 3. So even though I've been doing Python for 11 years, I'm still shocked sometimes when I do something and I get a completely different outcome than I was expecting. So be very careful with the language, and you say it's wrong. No. Python has distinct rules, and it works fine. So, and I'm still shocked by this. But understanding, I need to work on this. But this concept is extremely important. Understanding the anatomy of your object. So right here, I'm expecting this to print out 0, 1, 0, 3, 12. I get 0, 0, 12. So understanding exactly what in the world is happening, because let's double check. So nums, for I in nums, print I. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. That works. We have no other print statements. No other print statements. All right. That is extremely intriguing to me. So something is happening that I'm not noticing. So is this happening so fast? All right. So, well, one, we're getting this to work. And new nums. So now let's see if this sped up version, because we're only technically going through this list now one time. This one time. Let's see if we've sped this up any. So now I'm going to put this over in Leetcode, and let's see. And I've got a whole bunch of indentation problems. All right. Remove from nums and append to new. All right, let's see if it passes the first test and still have indentation problems. Give me a second. All right. Why don't I learn other languages? I've over the past I learned SQL and then Visual Basic. So right now, I mean, I don't believe C++ is utilized in any data engineering. So not right now. I don't have any interest. And like I said, Nico, a higher priority for me right now is to trying to find a job. So all right, I got an issue. Oh, hang on, comment that out. Let's see. And this is not working. Output. Oh, oopsie. And the things that I've built with, especially the opportunities that I'm probably going to have, Nico, with Dataiku and Python. Yeah, Python is data. Exactly. Because Dataiku is actually built on Python, and they have a whole machine learning segment. It's kind of interesting to me, but the pipelines of how you're handling and just the sheer problem solving of the amount of let's see data. Why didn't you learn it for fun? Again, we've got lots of other stuff going on. What about Rust? Don't really know. Okay, hard drive tools. It doesn't work. SQL's good. I don't know because Rust is Rust web based? Because I'm not sure. I know. I've heard individuals talk about Rust. Okay, this is just as slow. All right, we're gonna look at. Okay, no, I'm failing on. Let's look at this. Let's test this. I'm failing on. I'll get you into this new example. Nums, copy this. This is also why I like Leetcode. Is the edge cases. All right. And also, Nico, I guess I saw that a lot of individuals were able to. Everyone seemed to be very interested in Leetcode challenges on YouTube. So it was just an idea. So a lot of things that went into it. Let's see what happens when we do this one. Should actually add print nums. Print nums. Ah. So why does this one fail? Just a thought. Can you use count all the zeros? Ooh, interesting. In the list, then remove them all and just add as many zeros back. Vara, I like that. And Rust, and it just failed because I had to do anything because, yeah, I don't have any experience with Rust. Vara, I like that idea. Let's try that one because again, that's perfect. That's perfect. So we need to remove. All right. All right. So now this is a perfect example. Let's go through this of walking this over. Perfect human brain problem. Now we got to translate this. So we're going to need to do a couple things. Let's bring this up here. No, that's what I want everyone to do. Throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. So, all right. We got our list. And then I'm going to show you something cool if you haven't seen this before. We're going to do count. This is awful count. We haven't written anything in a while, but that's count. Okay. We'll start at 0. No, we're going to count them. That's right. We're going to use count because nums dot count 0. That'll be fast because we're going to use Python. All right. So problem solved. Then we need to while true. Let's do this one. Comment this. While true. What happens when we get to a nums dot help dot not nums dot remove? Will we get you use count? Okay, awesome. Well, Vara, very nice. Because if it is Venki approved, I highly raise the value error. All right. Now, Vara, you ever seen value error? So if it's going to raise an error, you need to use a try. All right. So while and if Venki used count, we are super heading. What was the speed of yours, Venki? It's probably like 8 milliseconds. Which I don't know. Which I'm intrigued of how they calculate it. Like, do they find really nervous to post? I was really nervous to post that. We were glad it worked. No. Okay. All right. Pause. If it didn't work, let's talk about that. So it would change your whole persona of how you felt about yourself or how smart you were. So let's talk about this right here. These are the things that we're slowly building. Separate your ideas from yourself. You aren't wrong. The solution is wrong. So now it goes the other way. Be very careful of always thinking that your solutions are right. So you want to find a delicate balance between being right all the time and wrong all the time. Because if you're in one of those buckets all the time, you're not in the right place. You're not doing easy enough stuff, and if you're right all the time, you're not doing hard enough stuff. So you are not your ideas. So yes, this one worked, but let's do the opposite. So what happens if it didn't work? Would that change everything? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I'm sitting here live streaming with everyone, and I would not have been able to do this maybe even a year ago, because all of my little videos, I've written the code, I've gone through it 3 or 4 times, I have it all written over on the side, and I would have been mortified to sit here and have these be wrong. Or so I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you stuck your neck out, but I'm glad it went right the first time, but don't be hesitant to say something, and then don't change yourself if it's a bad idea later. So I want to say that. So if the next one's bad, make sure you say the third one. All right. So if your third one is wrong, what's wrong? Okay. Let's talk about this for a second. This is very important, and this is the anatomy of solutions and things. I think we went too far. So I was quote unquote wrong. No problem. So I was quote unquote wrong because I had this here. I want you to look really subtly. Can you, I mean, it's that for a dyslexic. This is the same thing. So I was off by an indentation, an order of operations, an instruction. I knew what I wanted to, but it didn't quite come out right. So I was wrong. Well, was I? Or was I off a little bit? Programming is, I was close. It's the only thing. Well, I was close. It's like, it was answer A or B. Well, I said B, but it was close to answer A. Literally, programming is this. All right, I was close. I just was doing it at the wrong order of instructions. So, all right. I'm glad that went well, but don't hesitate. Please don't let the next one, if it is wrong, don't let that change you either, because it doesn't change who you are. Your problem solving is sound. Programming messes that up, because it is, like I've said before, your brain is doing so much more work, and we've got to dissect this enough where we can write this in Python. So, all right. Now, and like I said, it's count is Venki approved. I love it. All right. So we are going to be doing, so nums. Oh, no. Let's bring this in. 9 nums. Okay. And I don't know if I said you're welcome, but you're very welcome. All right. Because I want to do the, I was stuck for probably 18 months programming, and I don't want anybody else to go through that. And I want to help guide you in, I don't want to give you advice. I want to help you find your solution. I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to probe. I'm not going to tell you what to do, because then you won't be learning anything. So if I go away, you'll be stuck. But if I'm a soundboard and you're going through these things, you're going to get motivated, and you're going to be so confident. You're going to be, think about the inertia of a car. It's pretty hard to stop a car, but it's also pretty hard to get it going. But once it's going, it's hard to stop, right? All right. Same, all of Newton's laws. All right. So I digress. So nums dot count 0. All right. So 2. Now check this out. So have you seen this before? New equals 0 times 2. So we're going to do this, and we're going to get the count. So now new is this. So it'd be this. So our algorithm is we're going to do count nums dot count of 0, then we actually need to have count completely wrong. New equals 0 times, not divided by, times count. All right. Still don't, that's boggling me and annoying me that isn't working. All right, so here we go. So now we need to iterate. So try. No. While true, try nums dot remove 0. Yep. Except break. All right, Vara, do you know break? It's going to break the first indentation of a while loop. Nums dot extend new. Okay. All right. So I got just stuck in a while loop, an infinite loop. Same thing. My order of operations. So I was constantly stuck inside. There we go. All right. See if this is any faster. And then after we did this, we will look at Venki's elegant solution and see if this speeds things up. Oh. There we go. Get rid of print. Let's see. Past 1, 2, and now the third one that was really weird. All right. Not a whole lot faster. So we're now gonna look at Venki's. I've done 2. Now we're gonna look at a pro. So I've moved down. I've cut it in half. Venki, where are you? How fast is yours? Because this is what an order of magnitude of 10. This is almost of 10 times. Mine is 10 times slower. So we're gonna now look at Venki. So if you've not joined the Discord server, you're missing out on a lot of swap. All right, so let's bring this over. And oh, whoa! Why is this not grab? Oh, all right. Let's make this bigger. There we are. I think everyone can see that. Let me check OBS. There we are. Okay. So here we go. So Venki's solution is temp. Temp equals 0. So for I in range len, Vara, you ever see this nestedness right there? If you haven't, we will go over it in just a minute. Somebody sent. Thought I just heard something else. I can only use one monitor with my personal laptop. I need at least 2 to be effective. I 100% agree. When I got my work laptop and I didn't get my second monitor, I was dying. I'm actually on the. I feel like I need 3 because I need mine, then I need Discord, and then I need chat. So I technically need 3 during sometimes. All right. By a month of experience, I mean I made it almost halfway through the W3 schools Python course. I got lost in class, but Basic stuff before, like operators, loops, comprehension. Okay. Split the screen. Yeah, but it gets teeny tiny unless you have Dax, you could cast it to, because I know you said you used to watch the YouTube videos on your screen. You could cast it. You could sit in the living room if your family would allow this and cast to the big screen. Maybe that would work, but I know exactly what you mean. On a laptop is going nightmarish. But all right, you have seen that. Okay, which chat did you post the solution in, Vinky? Oh yes, that would shrink it pretty quick, pretty small. All right, so it's in here, down here in general. So yeah, we have general chat for general chat rooms, and then just general Python. So here we are. Oh, this is a list comprehension way. Okay, so for the non-zero, ooh, oh, that is so good. All right, so let's unpack. Everybody good with list comprehension? So this is so clean. Like I said, Vinky is outstanding in defaults to list comprehension. I default to loops. And also it does matter because list comprehension is faster. It's just faster because you're staying closer to the Python code base. And it's just faster. So let's break this down. So here's your header. And I know this is weird, but here's your header for your for loop. Then this is what you're going to do to it. But oh, wait a second, there's also an if. So the way you read this is put this in this list from this if this. That's how you read it. So then also what Vinky did is we looked at we're counting the zeros, multiplying it by, and then appending. Wait a second, I'm missing. How are you? Non-zero zeros. Where are you appending anything? Return. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Completely missing this. Non-zeros. That's all the numbers that weren't. And then extending, adding. So extend and add. So I know this gets weird. An operator. This is about the only goofy part in Python where it's a little inconsistent, where you have concatenation and you have an operator. So this is close to concatenating two lists and you're adding them together. And then it would be the same as a non-zero dot extend and then adding this to the end of it, and then you get this. So how fast was this? Because I have a feeling that was much faster. Was that in the group that is closer to 50? I guess we could try it. Oh, that is just... Okay. Sorry. Guess I don't typically have that many screenshots side by side or on top of each other. All right, so let's clean this up and let's see. So we have our non-zeros. Let's see. So we're going to count. So nums, yeah, non-zero, 0 equals num for num in nums. If num not equal, var, you know, not equal, you know, comparison and not, so equivalent and non-equivalent. So I throw around a lot of words. So you try the both. I can't check it yet. Okay. Not equal to 0. Vara, do you know equivalent and non-equivalent? So in Python, we're using the equal sign to assign. So we can't also dually use that to, awesome. Okay. All right. So now I have count, so non-zero, 0 row dot extend dot count. Don't know if this will work. Seems to. Let's try this, see how fast this is. Have a feeling it's going to be a lot faster because list comprehension, super fast. Because you can see, oh, what am I missing? Output, what? I'm not getting any. All right. Let's do zeros. So this is what I'm changing, so you can see zeros equals this times count, and I'm placing this in here. I don't know if I let's do this again. Check. All right, looks good. Changing that. Could be as simple PEMDAS rule. I need to wrap that around, but we're going to try this again, see if this passes. And then we'll probably start wrapping up. No, this is not. Why is this not? What is it throwing an error? Let me show let me read and make sure I'm not causing another. Oh, because I'm changing all the names. Because it's not liking it because we're changing. I want to see, okay, because the reason why, so what it's catching is because I'm creating a copy. So it's stopping it, and it's not allowing, it's passing in the object, but it must be catching. It's catching that this is, let me see if this, it's catching that it's a new object. So, all right, let me look at one of these solutions that is over here. Wait a minute, what? All right. Let's go through what this is, and then we'll probably wrap it for the day because we're at 1 hour and 41. And I think we've annoyed a lot of individuals today. All right, no, we got a fair amount. All right, so let's look and see what they're doing. They have idx equals 0, so they've just set a 0 or a variable to 0. So they're iterating through. They're creating a range. They're indexing. So whenever you see len of something and a range, indexing. So I is an index. So they're going through and they're looking for but they made a new list. So why is that it does not like our new list? So let me show you what it's doing. It is saying it is failing for count. Let's double check ours. It is moving the zeros over. Let's be consistent. Let's see if we have a problem. Nope, we do not have a problem. So when I run this, let me copy it again, as my dyslexia does not catch. I will catch logic errors. I will not catch syntax errors very quickly. Okay. This code does not work for the base case for this. And I do not know why. And this is everything fine. Nums, nums, nums. And they are doing the exact same thing. So let's dissect this. So they are indexing here. Let me move my fingers over. Indexing. So if num at that index not equal to 0, non-zeros. All right. So what are they doing with non-zeros? They are now assigning. Okay. All right. So then they're assigning index 0. Let's go through this. So the first time through, this is nums. When it finds a non-zero, it looks at the list at 0 index. So it's looking at the first item of the list, and it's then assigning nums. I am lost on this. And this is one of the faster solutions, and they're going through something twice. We went through something up to 50% more. All right, so nums index 0. So the first time through, this is 0. This is the way that I like to do this. So 0 and nums right now, this will actually be 0. So that won't happen. So let's go through the second one. So we get down to here. So this is I is 1. IDX is going to be still 0 because this is our first non-zero. All right. So nums IDX 0. So this is this place equals. So now it's being assigned. So all right, let's look at this for a second. I don't know if you've seen this or not, if anybody has. So the powerful thing about mutable sequences. There we go. All right. So lists That's it. Everything else is every other sequence is immutable. I mean, their dictionary, you don't need to move it around. So, all right, but let's see. So, nums 0 right here. So, I can then assign I, and I do not get this. So, here's an example. I'm going to be changing this index. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're moving it over. And I'm changing it. Maybe shuffling it. Okay. So, but I digress. So we can really see this stand out. We're going to change this to like a string. All right. Sorry. So what I did, this instruction right here, it's saying don't return anything. I mean, in the description, 2 pointers swapping from one index to another. I think that's what they're doing. Yes. I think that's what, yeah. I can't visualize it yet, but I think you're exactly right. And it's just shuffling as it's going through. But this is still so much faster, and it's going through it's going through the list twice. The only thing that I can think of is, since it's indexing, it's just that much faster. So, but I want to drive this point home. I'm changing that index. So yes, I think Venki, I think that point is swapping from one index to another. And then moving the, yeah, I'll have to spend time on this because we're getting down to what, we're approaching an hour and 48. Yeah. And I need to do, I need to get a lot done today. There's a tournament I want to go watch. I wasn't allowed to compete in anyway. But with me being sick, I couldn't. It's good that I didn't sign up, because I would have had to withdraw, and I don't think you get the money back. So all right, but Vara that wanted to drive this point home, and anybody else who's super new, you can literally come in here and reassign an index. Or even whole sections of it, slicing. So I could come in here, and it doesn't even have to be the same. I could literally just slice it off, replace it, and move on. But indexing and slicing is an unbelievably powerful tool in Python. So all right, so we got a solution. It works. It's slow. This doesn't work, which I was flabbergasted by. That goes on forever. So I'll have to think about this. So basically what it's doing is it's going through. But my thing is how is this not going through the same length of the list, because you're changing the list at the same time. That's why our first example was so slow, was because we were, if it was 50%, that's not cow, that was going to be count. Let's do new again. But I'm not visualizing the anatomy of this solution. So if half of it was zeros, I was slicing it and copy and paste and adding it to the end. So I was increasing the length of our iteration by 50%. And I don't see how, but I think Venki is exactly right. I want to agree, or I want to see, I agree, I want to see it, but I can't. So that's my dilemma when there are some solutions that present themselves very, very easily to me. And then there's others that I have to draw this out. So I think one time we had a solution where I was going, what was it? This and this. I think that was, oh yeah. So this kind of bubble sort. We were doing a bubble sort ish adjacent. We were doing a bubble sort adjacent. And I literally had to write this out. But I don't know if I dropped and did it when we were here, but this was an example of our brain is doing more than you think it is. So you have to be absolutely aware. Go and look up peanut butter and jelly sandwich instructions. Dax may have seen this. We're older, and it was a good training exercise for training and development, that you're never going to have enough instructions, and understanding and the conveying of nuances is extremely challenging. So it's like, get the bread. Okay, get the bread. Well, you and I both understand that get the bread means grab the loaf of bread, pull 2 slices out. Well, that's what I meant, but that's not what I said. So as I was going through this list, I was looking here and I was looking in front of this, but then I was also saying, well, do I need to look in front of here? Well, I wasn't doing this part. So peanut butter is peanut butter. That's good. That's funny. Thank you, Dax. Python bakes it is PB. Sam adds the jelly. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna tell that to everybody in my house, and I like it, but just I know that they're gonna cringe and be like, oh, I love it, but that's funny. That is Python Basics is PB. I'm gonna make them. They won't call me PB, but I'm gonna make them call me PB. That Dax, you're quick. I like that a lot. That might be the funniest thing I've heard in a while. Okay. And Sam adds the jelly. Okay. I'm going to go make my wife throw up when I get off here, and I'll go and tell her that. So anything else super pressing? Glad we have, I like our little core audience we have. I think this is awesome. This works. So dichotomy, get it to work. If you can get it to work, make it more efficient. If you can, so don't struggle. If you can't get it to be more efficient, leave it where it works. All right, because that's how you progress. I mean, you don't become. Yeah, go ahead, Dax. Quick point. Okay. Get it to work. And I love the meme. It was actually, I think, a commercial. Do you know your... Was that XOR? Try to... I think I've seen that. I've not had... Most people understand Excel. You can learn Power BI exams first. Easily apply in Power. Yes, I think I've heard that, or you've told me that before. But Vinky, send me. I think I've seen XOR. Try. So like this. Yeah. Hang on. Let's do. Is there anything in there? Okay. Oh, Vara. This is... If you've never seen this yet, this is really helpful. So you can really kind of deep dive more into... Is it capital? Okay. I will do some research on this, but when inside of this help, so it's almost like... Let me get into... hang on. Just is it the caret? XOR _1, like that. You have to send me an example, and pass in help with 0, and you go into this void of help. So like keywords, so like things you can't get and you just want to know more about. So then you're like, okay, so wait a minute. So what does with do? I've heard people talk about with. Boom, you get a lot of documentation and some pretty in-depth items. Or you're like, I really don't understand what try does. And you're going to be able to then get a pretty good explanation. So yes, if you've not seen that, this is a pretty exceptional tool. And don't hesitate, don't get fancy. If you just have shell here, that's fine. Because I used to spend so much time just showing everybody. Because I mean, what? I have Spider here. This is the exact same thing as this. My interpreter and my file. That's all it is. You can have them side by side. You do the exact same. Since you like data, look at Tableau versus Power BI and Google Trends. Tableau downtrend, Power BI uptrends. Go back to 2017, Power BI now. Struck in another commercial now. You have another commercial? My bad. I'm sorry. So yeah, just swim around in this and try to solve some problems. You're back? Okay. Vara, try to do this solution. And you can, this is everywhere. But see if you can build this. I know I drive this point home, and I feel like an old football coach trying to go about doing things. See if you can get this to happen. Print this out, a number triangle, and if that's really simple, if that's simple to you and you can do that real quick, move it over. Have it be this. So try to do this one first. Then if this is really super simple, try to do this one. And I make a big deal about this, and I haven't worked on the wording to convince everyone that this is important. This is everything. This has basically, you guys, I don't know if anybody's here, but somebody was talking about Karate Kid. It was basically, this has all the concepts. Everybody's like, I know the basics of Python. Oh, what do you consider the basics of Python? I consider the basics of can I iterate through something? And I make a big deal about the 3 dots. Let me see if I can. 3 dots, 3 dots, 3 dots, 3 dots. And I've got to work on the wording of this too. More dots. All right. Because the order of operations and instructions. Wow, this is taking forever. All right. I don't want that. I just want the 3 dots, the 9 dots. All right, let me bring this over. All right. I know this looks weird, and just bear with me. I know I'm crazy, but I'm really good at why. All right, so let's say you have a little stick man right here. Actually, let's copy this over to this. And then I want to put this in Paint. New. Don't save. Paste. All right. So let's say we have a little stick man and he's here. Do. Hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And now you can walk over the same steps more than once. But I want you to do this in an efficient way. And I want you to think about this. If you think about this pattern right here, I can add more columns and I can add more rows. And you'll always, so if you start here and if you think about this set of instructions, I walk forward, I turn right. I walk forward, walk forward, walk forward. Basically, is there one in front of me? Yes. Walk forward. Is there one in front of me? Walk forward. Is there one in front of me? Walk forward. Is there one in front of me? No. Turn all the way around. Walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, walk forward. Same thing. We could count as we go. You could do these in a set of instructions. But if you can do something like this, where I go forward, come forward, boom, 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 walk all the way to the end, turn right. So that, whatever that set of instructions that you did for this one, that would have been a function, and it becomes repeatable. So I can do something over and over and over and over again. So let me go over that again. Because if you're standing here and you need to come and walk down all these dots, you walk forward, you turn right. Boom, 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 come all the way back up, turn right. You're standing right here, the exact same location as this. So you would have written an entire function to walk over all of these dots, and your next starting point is right here. So you would have, then you could copy that function or call that function later and have it and reuse it to do the same set of instructions. That is what I make a big deal about. And same thing with this. This is, once you get this breakthrough and you can do this, then doing the backwards one or the leaning to the right. Same concept, but this is more of an algorithmic design because of these spaces. And we can help you walk through that. But I make a big deal about this because this task sets you on this journey of programming. Yes, you've spent some time learning Python, the syntax, the language. But this is programming. How can I draw out, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? And when you begin to look at this algorithm and how it goes about, I will give you a little bit of a hint because you may struggle with this. It's print, and if you look right here at this end, you can quash the new line. You can quash the new line with end equals that. So I want you to look really, 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 really close. That's 2 lines. That's 1 line. I'm stopping the built-in print. That's the syntax for a new line, or the text. That's how you get a new line in Python. And it defaults to a new line. I silenced it, and I reassigned it to an empty string. So that's how. So that's one thing you may not know in Python. That's the only hint that you need. And you should be able to do this pretty quickly. Just think about what it's doing and dissect it and go from there. So, all right, anything super, super, super pressing before we end, because we're now at 2 hours and 5 minutes. So definitely want to start wrapping up. Anything really super important that we need to talk about? All right, going once, going twice. If you've not joined the Discord server, please do that so you can get the help that you need and deserve. And I think that's a good way to put it. If you're a new learner, a lot of the message boards can make you feel like you should already know something. And I assume, and I have a lot of empathy for new learners or learners in general, because I am a special learner. It takes me a while to learn anything, but I also know I overcome it. I'm working on this. Thanks for the great stream. Oh, thank you very much. You have a great day too, Avara. Very glad to have you here in our little group, and we'll just keep swimming, like they say in the famous Disney movie. Just keep swimming. That's the only thing you can control is your effort. Can't control anything else. So control that and a good attitude. So I will see everyone tomorrow, hopefully. Don't know which topic we'll do, and we will go from there. So thanks, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye.